Okay guys, welcome back to a brand new Sorare video on this channel, and in today's one I will talk about my top 10 favorite investments on this game. I'll go through 5 that can win you a lot of rewards for the rest of the season, and the 5 others will be investments when it comes to you purchasing players, holding them and selling for a profit later on in the season. And first of all, this is not financial advice, but one thing that may be financial advice is when you are signing up to Sorare, you should definitely use an affiliate link. And if you want to use mine, that is much appreciated. You will get 50 euros after buying 5 cards. So do that if you haven't signed up to Sorare already. But now let's start off with the first players. Matheus Cunha, such an underrated bowler in my opinion. And first of all, we can look at his limited price, because this is a player that I think can win you a lot of rewards in the future. So this will be in that category. And in terms of classic, you can get him for around 7 euros, and in season you can get him for around 15 euros. And in terms of his scores so far this season, we can see that they have been pretty decent. And now let's look at their fixtures. Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Manchester City, Brighton away. All of those fixtures compared to Brentford and also Nottingham Forest, which is the two only bad fixtures. But look at how good he has done compared to those type of fixtures. And now let's look ahead. Crystal Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich, Leicester, Manchester United, Nottingham Forest. It will be so many incredible games for a player like Matheus Cunha. We know that Wolves are terrible defensively, but offensively they aren't that bad. I think Matheus Cunha will be probably the best forward option in the Premier League for the future. And also I think his price will rise, and I also think that his performances will be able to win you a lot of rewards on this game. So therefore I love this as an option, and also in a rare I think you can get him for a very fair price right now, although he has gone up a little bit more there. But still a very fair price. And now let's move on to the second player, and that will be Rodrigo. He is such an underrated player in my opinion. Real Madrid haven't looked good without him. And look at this price graph, and I know he has a pretty serious injury, but I don't think he will be out for as long as it says here. I think he will be back after the January transfer window and then start for Real Madrid again. And when we look at his price, this is just a ridiculous amount. You can get his new in-season card for around 20 euros. That is 1/5 of his price that he were earlier this season, which is just ridiculous. This is a 1 month different, and I think purchasing him in season is the way to go. And wait until he gets back, and then you can decide, do you want to sell him? But I personally think it's such a great opportunity to then use him in season competitions and earn money that way. Because as you can see here, he had some incredible scores at the start of the season, then he had some small knocks and etc. So I think he will keep on smashing it when he are back. He is such a good player, and I'm so excited to see him returning, because I think overall this is such a great investment. And this will be the second one, and moving on to the third one, it will be Onana. Erik Ten Hag have gotten the sack, so therefore I think defensively Manchester United will be so good. This will also be for winning rewards. You can get this new in-season card for around 35 euros in limited. And if we go to his SO5 scores, they have been decent so far this season. He has been one of the best Manchester United players by a mile in my opinion. And also when we look at the upcoming fixtures, yeah, Chelsea is a tough one, but then we have PAOK, Leicester, Ipswich, Bodø/Glimt, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Pilsen, Bournemouth, Wolves. Those type of fixtures, which I think Onana will get a lot of clean sheets from. So I would purchase him to earn in-season competitions, and he may also go up in price after performing, because he has been very solid so far this season. But he has been very unlucky that the Manchester United defense have been horrific. But I think a manager change may switch things up and actually make Andre Onana a lot better when it comes to getting good SO5 scores. And let's move on to player number 4. Probably one of my favorite players in terms of undervalued, and also players that can earn you a lot throughout the season. You can get him for around 25 euros in season now, and I think for winning especially rewards in the future, this is such a great option. If we go to his SO5 scores, they haven't been too great this season, although all of these scores are in AA. And if we look at last season, he got some incredible scores for Newcastle, and Newcastle haven't been that great in my opinion when it comes to how they play. But if we look at the future games after Arsenal, they have Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Leicester, Ipswich, and Aston Villa in there. I think there are some incredible fixtures there for Bruno Fernandes to perform. So this is a long a long-term player to pick up in season, which can earn you a lot of cash along the season. At least that is what I would do with this one. I'm not sure how much he will rise, but I think he will win you a lot of rewards. I'm very, very certain of that, unless he gets an injury. And then we have the last player on the list where I think that you can purchase to mainly win rewards back as an reward investment compared to investment to win liquid cash. And that will be Alejandro Garnacho. And I genuinely think this is such a great option. And if we go to his price, and this is also especially after the Ten Hag sack, around 10 to 12 euros in Classic and around 17 euros in season. I think especially in season it's such a fair price. If you look at his SO5 scores, it hasn't been as good compared to last season, but he have those peak scores in him. He has missed a lot of big chances. I think that is a confidence thing, and I think when we get a new manager in, of course we may get something because at the moment it's Ruud van Nistelrooy being there until we get a new manager, so I'm not sure how long that will take, but I think either way he will be a lot better under a new manager. And I think this will be a very, very good one for the long-term future and also for the short-term future. And you could also earn some money in him just by buying him now and then selling him later. So I really, really like this one as well. And now let's move on to the 5 last players. And those will be just for you to purchase and sell later. Of course, you can use them in competitions as well. But those players are mainly for an investment point of view, not to actually play in competitions. So the first one will be Radu Dragozin, which is a player that I actually really fancies, and I think it's very unfortunate that he haven't got so much game time. You can get him for around 4.5 euros in season, and that is what I would purchase him from. I would purchase him, you can around now or for the next couple of days, and then you should sell him right before the international break, where we have a double game week, Kosovo and also Kypros. He will go up in price before that, and I'm pretty certain of it, unless he gets an injury. Of course, you need to take that into consideration, and he's such a good player to use as well. And if we go to Romania here, in the last international break, he got the 87-pointer, and a lot of Sorare managers are going to look at that, I'm pretty sure of. So therefore, that is something you, of course, love to see. And also, if you go to Romania here, he has a very good caliber of scores here, if you go through them here, which, of course, love to see as well. So a lot of Sorare managers will look at a player like him, especially when he has a double game week against 2 teams that Romania should do very well against. So therefore he will be the first one. You can get him for a very fair price as well. And the next one will be Amirrahmani, which is another player that I will target international weeks for, because you can get him for around 3 euros in Classic and a lot more in season. So I would personally purchase his Classic card for around 3 euros. And then I would sell him right before this international break, where they play against Romania, but then also Lithuania, which is such a great fixture in my opinion. And especially for a player like Rahmani, which have had a very good start to the season. And also when we go to Kosovo, he has had some insane scores when he played there. He had a 100-pointer last time around. So this one is definitely a player that I would go for as an investment point of view. And now let's go through the third last player, that is going to be Issu. And this is a long-term investment. I will personally sell him right before he's back from injury. You can get him in season for around 5 euros and his classic season for 3 to 4 euros. I will purchase him in season because there are some positive reports that he may be back before the January transfer window. So therefore I think this is such a great opportunity to get him and then sell him when he is on the training ground getting back, or sell him when he starts performing again, because he has like incredible scores in him. The only downside is that he gets injury once in a while, so therefore when he's back, sell him before he gets another injury and then earn your money that way. I love him as a player, and I will not sell him when he gets back from injury, but from this, for safety reasons or also for an investment point of view, I think that is the best way to do with this one. And now let's move on to Anthony Gordon. I think this is probably the biggest bargain on this entire list, and I can't believe my eyes. In season Anthony Gordon you can get for 15 euros. 15 euros, that is criminal. If we check at the start of the season, 107 euros. Some guys purchase him for around 100 euros, and now you can get him for 16 or even 15 euros. You don't even realize how insane that is. And he hasn't been that bad like, he had some penalty missed here and there. He hasn't been 100% compared to what he performed at last season, but he hasn't been bad either. He has now a small injury. He will probably be back stronger than ever. And as I talked about with Bruno Fernandes, Newcastle have some very, very interesting fixtures. So therefore, I love this Aston pick, and especially you can just sell him when he's around 20 to 25 euros, because I can almost promise you, unless he gets a very, very serious injury, he will get back up there. And because of this injury news, he has gone down in price, and there are a lot of Sorare managers not knowing about that this isn't a serious injury. He will be out for 2 days to 2 weeks. At least that is what Eddie Howe said, so that is very, very nice in terms of the length of the injury. And also after the international break, I think he will be such a good player to have in your gallery. And also, he should go up in price. I'm pretty confident in this one. The most underrated player in terms of the price and also in terms of his talent. He will become good eventually in terms of earning money on him when purchasing for around 15 euros. So it's just to wait until he goes up in price or use him in competitions. That is, of course, up to you. And now the last player, and talking about underrated players, I think Dwight McNeil is also another underrated player, because he have gotten the news of him being injured, and Sean Dyche have said that it isn't serious. And a lot of Sorare managers don't know it. They just sell him because it says here that injury sub of injured. And we can see also in his price that he has piked down a lot. So he's around 15 euros as well. And 11 euros last sale in season. That is ridiculous. Close to 10 euros. And if we look at his upcoming fixtures, Southampton, West Ham, Brentford, United, Wolves, and then of course he has a terrible run of fixtures. But if you can manage to sell him before the Brentford game, or if he's back for the Southampton game right before that, I think he will at least double in price or something, because he's such a great option. He has had some incredible scores so far this season when Everton hasn't played too well either. So like, as an option, I love him. I think one of the best ones here. So these will be all the 10 players. I can, like, from the bottom of my heart, I own 2 players out of these 10, but I think every single one of these players is players that is very highly on my watch list, one of the most underrated players all over the place, and I generally really, really like every single one of these as an option. And we can go through them and summarize it now. The first of all is Matheus Cunha. I love him. And then we have Rodrigo. I really, really like him, although he's now currently injured. Onana, very good because of the sack of Erik ten Hag. Bruno Fernandes, so underrated. If he can come back to his old scores, he will just smash it. And also when we go to Alejandro Garnacho, such a great option now, especially after the sack of Ten Hag. I think he will be one of the most important players, although keep in mind there may be some rotations with Amad Diallo, but I think still he's such a great option. And the next one will be Radu Dragusin to sell before the international break. The same with Rahmani. Issu is an injured player that I think is very, very smart to sell right before he comes back, and also after he starts performing. That is of course up to you. And then we have Anthony Gordon. I have just talked about him. Such an incredible player. I think his price is way too good because of an injury he recently had. Small knock, Eddie Howe calls it. Or a small sprain or something. I'm not sure 100% what he said, but either way it's a short-term thing, so therefore he has gone down in price, which I don't think is as reasonable, especially compared to how much he has gone down, almost 50%. And then we have also Dwight McNeil, which I also think is an incredible option and very underpriced because of that small injury / knock. So therefore these 10 players, very, very happy about them. Leave in the comments, do you agree or do you disagree with some of my players? These are my 10 favorite players to invest in right now on Sorare. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave it in the comments, and I'll of course catch you in the next one. Bye bye and take care. Peace.